Hey guys, what's going on? It's Andrew from AR Media, and tonight's video I'm going to review Alien Covenant in 4K UHD Blu-ray. I just gave this a watch, so I'm going to give you my opinion on the movie itself, the picture quality, if it's worth the pickup. Let's get to it. So I just finished Alien Covenant just now, and I gotta say I have mixed feelings about the movie. For the first hour, I actually had high hopes in the movie, and I gotta say they kinda went down. I'm a big fan of the original Alien, so having the Alien name tag attached to this has some value to me because I believe Alien is a classic, and I believe it really shouldn't be tampered with too much, even though there's tons of sequels. And I feel that this one does a decent job, but I also feel that it's still just a basic sci-fi space thriller. I don't feel that it ties into Alien enough. I feel like it tries too hard to tie into Alien. But overall, I do feel that it was an okay movie. I was not blown away by it, but I did enjoy it. You know, the whole time it kept me entertained. I thought certain actors' performances were very, very good. For example, Michael Fassbender was phenomenal. Danny McBride showed a different side of himself, which I really liked. He was actually really good in this movie. And overall, I just think the movie was good, but I just think it could have been a lot better with the Alien name tied to it. I think the first hour they had a nice stride. They hit a little bit of a slow part. I was okay with the ending, but I just think that overall the movie could have been better. But if you're into sci-fi and you're into thrillers, this is definitely worth the pickup, or at least definitely worth the rental and the watch. Now let's get to the picture quality, guys. So this comes from the 2K Digital Intermediate upscale to 4K. The sharpness, the detail on this is a very, very big uptick from the Blu-ray. Even though it's a 2K Digital Intermediate, I found this to be a very, very good transfer. Now this was shot all digitally, so there is no noise on the, no grain on the image at all, which I like very much in 4K Blu-ray. And this is a space movie, so a lot of it takes place on beautiful spaceships, which is called the Covenant in this one, and in space, which is very nice to display black levels and to display HDR. So now let's get to the HDR portion, because I feel like with the resolution, with the 2K to 4K upgrades, you get an increase in detail, you get an increase in sharpness, and the last thing I want to hit on is just an increase in depth. You definitely get an increase in depth here when the alien's running towards you. You do get the 3D effect, definitely not as strong as something like Guardians of the Galaxy, but there is still a good amount of depth here. Now let's get to the HDR, and that's where this movie really shines. Now this actually is a cold color palette, I would say, a rather drab color palette, but the thing is, it also has a lot of bright scenes and a lot of bright things mixed into the drab color palette that stand out a lot. So for example, all of the HUDs on the ship that transform into 3D holograms that are bright blue and bright orange, they pop off the screen. They really, really pop off the screen. The Covenant ship is absolutely beautiful in 4K. The lighting throughout the ship is beautiful. Throughout these scenes, the lights in the ship all change color. There's actually a lot of lighting going on inside of the ship, and you see tons of different shades of red and blues and greens, and overall it looks fantastic inside of the ship. Now another scene I want to point out is a scene where astronauts are actually going out into space to fix something on the ship, and they're wearing yellow spacesuits. I gotta say, the yellow was so vibrant and popped off the screen in that scene, especially relative to the space background. And that's really when HDR shows off, is when you see things like the yellow spacesuit, and they're using some sort of reflective parachute that just that blows off the screen. It looks phenomenal, phenomenal. And that's upon the inky blacks of space. And that's the last thing I'll hit on, is the inky blacks. So the black levels in this are very good, and I would expect that with the space movie. They really need to be. And so far, every space movie has really not let me down so far on the 4K format. Although the movie wasn't my favorite Alien movie, it's definitely a movie I'll give a couple watches to. I definitely still enjoyed it. I just was expecting more out of the franchise. Now, on the picture quality standpoint, I think this was a great transfer. I think this is a definite pickup if you're looking for the 4K transfer. The picture quality is great. The detail, the contrast, the clarity, and the HDR is really what shines on this transfer. Let me tell you, those futuristic HUDs, it's very similar to like Pacific Rim where they have the HUDs pop up. They're super bright, super vibrant, tons of explosions, tons of fire, just tons of great HDR scenes in general. And overall, I would highly recommend the pickup. Anyway, guys, let me know if you enjoyed the video today by throwing me a thumbs up. Subscribe down below for more content in the future. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the movie, if you're picking it up. And have a good night, guys.